All right, happy Sunday, everybody. How's it going? So, chapter 5 of the 10X rule with Grant Cardone and the Active Nutrition Group. Super stoked. We've been really enjoying the last 4 chapters so far. Chapter 5 was a really, really short one, but it was just packed with information. So, the members of the Active Nutrition Group, you have Coach Austin, you got Coach Evan, you got Coach Joy, Coach Cowie, and Coach Noy in the house. So, we're going to kick this thing off, and I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm just going to read like a summary of one of the chapters as we go through it, so that way it kicks off the discussion for us. What they talk about in chapter 5 is there's no shortage of success. So it's not a commodity or resource that has limited reserves. There's never going to be a lack of success, and they use dearth in the book, which was a new word for me. And that's just because it's created by those who have no limits in terms of ideas, creativity, ingenuity, talent, intelligence, originality, persistence, and determination. So that being said, that's going to kick off our discussion. I love this chapter. It was great. I felt like the biggest things that I got out of it was, a lot of people get stuck in this mindset where it's like, oh, if somebody else is successful, they're taking away from whatever I can do. And instead of looking at it like it's inspiration that goes, hey, if that person can be successful, whatever they're doing, then I can do the same thing. And we forget to celebrate other people's success, and instead we compare ourselves to their success. And I just find that comparison, like that's like a hot button for me. I just want to beat that word up, like if I could. And I heard Gary Vee talk about it the other day, and he's just like, I hate that word, and I don't use hate very often. But that was the biggest thing that I got out of the chapter. How about you guys? Good morning.
I know, I'm waiting. I don't want to talk first.
No, sorry. Okay, so I'll go first. We'll go first.
Okay, good.
So, for me, to add on to what you were talking about, us, it's like just because you doing good doesn't limit me from not succeeding. Exactly. Right. we definitely, especially us being sisters, because we always there for each other. We definitely do, when one does hit a marker or get help someone new, we definitely do applaud them. We'll even throw a dinner for each other, we'll definitely applaud each other, as well as you folks, so I think that is definitely and then not competing. It's all about me, the best version of me. I'm not here for anybody else trying to I applaud you, but it's really about me. I'm not here to compete with you. I applaud you, and I'm gonna go get mine. Yeah.
Kind of more you're not being, and I forgot which event and who this was. I don't know if it was Carla or if it was Michael Katz. I don't know. They both were just, spitting fire. So I'm not too sure which event it was. But I remember one of them saying, if don't be offended. Don't touch that. Okay. Don't be offended, and don't be scared of other people's success, feeling like you can't be the one to go and get it and do it yourself. Be more it's gonna be driving you to even get it that much more, because you shouldn't be feeling like everybody it's a race to do. Success shouldn't be a race. It shouldn't be something that has to do with competing with each other more than empowering each other.
And then, I'm sorry, one more thing that I took from this chapter is don't just depend on one thing or one person to like get you to be successful.
And the way you view success,
And
the way you view success is just as important as how you approach it. You know, so if you're gonna be thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be broke, or I'm gonna be this, or I'm gonna be that, like you should be thinking more highly of yourself, because then you're more likely to do it.
look at Joy smiling.
What I get from that is success. Everything has success. So I heard somebody said, from my own perspective, even like having a great sleep, it's already success. Like talking to people is already success. And having a new client is also a success, right? And last night I got new people from Japan, and that's
Bless.
success. So we control what is success, and that's what I got.
So I'm not gonna I'm gonna do my best not to look at the book or like read out of the book right now, because it's just what I got out of the thing was that it's success is so much of it is mindset, and it's just abundant thinking. And so and that's hard to do for a lot of people, because having abundance is hard for a lot of people to do, including myself. More so before, it was really hard because I came from a household where everything was like, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough food, like don't eat so much, you know, and like that. So everything was kind of like save, conserve, you know, like don't waste gas, don't, you know, all this kind of stuff. So, or like look at the price, never pay full retail, look at the price tags, like all of that. So abundant thinking didn't come naturally for me until I started making a little bit more money. Then it was kind of like, wow, it's a trip not having to look at price tags or not have to worry about gas and all that kind of stuff. And then later on, when I didn't have money again, it was like, holy shit, like, how am I going to fill my tank? How am I going to like change the tires on my car? You know, like for real. And so then I kind of went back to this, like, but I was more aware of the scarcity mindset because I had both. And so it was easier for me to not be so scarce minded. And so abundance came faster that way. So with success and this chapter in particular, there's no limitation on success. It's not something that is like gold or silver or like a hard physical object where it's like there's only so much there, because it's a creative thing. Success is like a creative thing. We create it here, right? So when somebody is successful, for me before, I used to be like jealous of that person because I didn't think of that thing. Like, how's that person, how are they able to do it? Instead of like having like a mindset more of solution oriented thinking, I was more into like, how come I didn't think of that? You know, instead of like, man, you know what, we can do that. We can actually do it better than that. And so it's striving for excellence. Kind of like is the essence of success. It's like being the best person that I can be today and striving for excellence, whether that's physical, professional, whatever aspect or facet of life that is most important. And then just going for it, man. Like, and then, sorry, getting excited. And then not letting people around me like put the brakes on. You know, my mom used to say, oh, you can't get into real estate and do that because, you know, it takes a long time, or because it's based on when she was in real estate, her, what was it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like her experience of it, you know? she had to do. But for me, it was like so easy. Boom, I got my book. Boom, 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 right in. Right. So I was able to do well, thank God. And so there's a lot of people out there that when we get into our own business as an entrepreneur and all of that, people tend to like, oh, that's like pyramid, or that's this, or that's that. Or they want to put the brakes on it because that's what their experience is, or knowledge, or what they hear, or what they just don't know.
Right.
So,
Yep.
that's the other thing, letting people put the brakes on.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, you know, and I feel like in my experience, right, like when people put the brakes on, right, it comes in the form of, well, I can create success for you, right? Or I can do this for you if you believe in me, which, you know, and not to get controversial here, but we hear that in the politics game, right? Where it's like, well, I will do this if you vote for me. I will do that if you vote for me, just to gas you up and get you energized to go, yeah, I'm going to get behind that person's cause. When it's like, wait, what about my own cause? What am I feeling? Like, what is my direction? What am I defining as a level of success in my life, right? And how am I going to create that? So one of the things that I always used to, I'd say this a lot is, you know, the mind achieves what the mind believes. So if I can view success in a way where it's like, hey, I celebrate the fact that my friend, who was my college buddy for years, he was just like pumping through his career and like knocking out degrees, knocking out certifications. And at the time I was just like, whoa, I was like, that's incredible. But then my thought was like, man, if he can do that, then what is the difference there? The only difference is the mindset and the action that follows. It's like, if I feel like I'm limited, like I'm treating success like it's like a fossil fuel is how I relate it, like limited resource, scarcity. Oh, we're running out of gas. Oh, we're running out of oil. It's like, we're going to jack up the price. It's like, no way. Let me just chase after it, knowing that, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to create new success. I'm going to innovate a new limitations. So I'm going to chase after it, because if he can do it, I'm going to do it. But then I'm going to go in my own way to make it better, like how you were saying, Evan, right? It's like, hey, why can't I do that? And why can't I make it better? I got a better idea about it. And that's where we can like get creative and let all those juices start flowing. So,
yeah, and it's, oh, sorry to interrupt us.
No, go ahead.
So as a team like this, it's kind of nice because it's not just me creating things. You know what I mean? It's kind of more of a synergistic effect. So we kind of work together, kind of in a flow to make things happen. And that's refreshing because everybody wins all the time. And it's for the greater benefit of everybody that we help and the rest of the team, not just us, but the rest of the team too. So that's super refreshing. And that to me, ideally, is like the definition of success. It's not just my success, but everybody's success.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's funny because me and Mayole had told each other that we would come up with a quote or pick like a Mark Hughes or a Jim Rohn quote that would fit for today's like personal development of the day, because the little thing that I read off of like has double days. So yesterday and today would be for yesterday that we read, but what we said today and our Mark Hughes quote for today that we had picked like ties in with what we're talking about, which is super cool. Because it's like he's telling you to be the best that you can be. If you're gonna compete with someone, compete with yourself. You know, you want to be better every single day. And that was just on point.
Yeah, and we're often our harshest critic anyway.
And I love that we like be like just like what we were talking about last night, Ev, like our vibe. The reason why, if I never met you, and the reason why I wouldn't be with, like, for example, Sella or Champagne or Deja or Shaz, you know, they attract me. I would follow them, but their vibe isn't our vibe. Like, we just feed off of each other, and that's how we get shit done.
Yeah, last night was super productive. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Sorry, just wanted to say that.
Late nights are always that way. Just saying.
Bruh.
And I
It
think
really is. It really is from that like 10 to 6, 10 at night to 6 in the morning. That right there, that's just like the time where you buckle down to get it.
Yeah.
If you ain't getting it, then you just ain't out there getting it. Because
you know
really,
what's
what's
cool? Yeah. You know what's cool? It's like sorry, Kai.
No.
I find it cool that, you know, because we're so synergistic, right? Because we're all so passionate, right? And we're all striving towards like a success that, you know, it resonates with us. We're like, hey, you know, whatever that is, it's like, I know that we're going there, but we found a way without ever saying it to just lock it up and go, we're all chasing after the same thing. Let's just go. So it's like all of our creative juices are just like flowing, and because we're passionate about what we're doing and we have like strong conviction, strong belief, it's pulling us into like digging deeper into it and sinking our teeth into like the things that we're developing and the things that we're putting together to make things easier for future leaders. So I find that that's like, it's incredible because we're not capping or limiting our success at all. We're just saying, well, how do we magnify it? How do we take what we're feeling, put it into something that someone can consume and blow it up?
Yeah, exactly that.
What is your vision? What is the goal?
And to get it everywhere.
Yeah, what's the goal?
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what the goal is
and duplicate it.
And take action and duplicate.
Yep.
And
So,
it's
like,
cool because we all come from like way different backgrounds. You know, that's the best thing about us, like creating, like how Evan said, we each have our own like dust, like aura about us. And our creativity is like totally different too.
Yep.
I think what's interesting, so like, you know, you've been on other teams before, right? Where maybe there was good synergism, or like you were on a championship crew or on a championship team, or even if you had to do something where you were the champion, for example, and you had to be, but nobody gets anywhere alone. You know?
Never.
Success is never achieved.
Even for a like one man sport.
Yeah, it's never
never there
alone. Like you listen to all these champions that are like in the UFC or whatever sport, it's always like, thanks to the team, thanks to my coaches, my training partners, everything. The guys got me prepared for this one shot, and I was able to do it. So I was thinking about that this morning when I was walking Primo outside of our team, and how everybody's going for success. And I've had other teams before, and I was thinking, why wasn't I able to duplicate that? Like, why is it happening easily now? And I think the thing is like everybody's letting go of their own egos. I'm letting go of my ego. And so that does not get in the way of the calls or, you know, whatever we're trying to achieve. So if we put something together, whether it's a new welcome packet for new distributors or whatever, and it's good because everybody can feed into that thing, and nobody has like ownership of it.
Totally.
All
you know,
own it.
Yep. And I find that, you know, because talking about like past teams of synergy, right? Like I've had a few that were like that, where it was really, really solid and everything gelled, right? And it's just like how you said, there was no ego, there was no envious feelings. There were disagreements, but the disagreements were in the form of constructive criticism and feedback, so that way we could get to a better solution. And it always came from a position of, and we talk about this so much, it's funny that it's coming up now. It all comes from that position of responsibility, accountability, and respect. And I always feel like as long as we have those three things intact, there's no telling what we'd be able to achieve together, because it's not like we're going to insert our opinion and go, well, I don't like that idea because now my agenda is pushing in to go, I got to disrupt that. That's not in alignment with me. It's more just like, I like this, but what if we add this to it? You know, now we personalize and we augment each other. And I think augmenting is so much better than just going break the mold, fragment it.
And two, it's like all of us have a similar, like we're all going in the same direction. Excuse me. We all have like similar interest in helping people become healthier, wealthier, and free. You know, like that's kind of like the common, like the direction everybody's going in. So if we can check the egos, sorry, hold on. If we can check the egos, and then at the same time, we're all confident in our own abilities because we've gone through all the same skills training. You know, it's easy to have confidence and faith in each other that we're going to get shit done. So it's easy. It flows because we trust each other. We have confidence in each other, in our abilities, and faith in that, like, nobody's going to do anything to like take us onto the rocks. You know what I mean? Take the ship onto the rocks. Like we're sailing and nobody's dropping anchor in the middle of a full-on sail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, fuck it. Like we're sailing, we're moving. Yeah, we're rocking and we're rolling, but we're making progress and we're making waves and we're going forward towards our destination. And it's good. No one's gonna like throw an anchor over the side. I'm scared. Let's drop anchor right now. You know?
And that's really funny because fear really is the biggest anchor for anybody in trying to create momentum for success, right? It's like we gotta pull that anchor up and we gotta just go, you know what, let fear fly into the wind so that way we can keep moving.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
What was that?
So in talking,
sorry, couldn't hear it.
What?
What did you say?
Go ahead, Joy.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So in talking about fear and scarcity, because I think that was a heavy focus of the chapter, right? Looking at like things that are in like current events, right? So this whole pandemic, right? And you know, we were just talking about it before we got on the call. We were like, yeah, you know, like live and let live. You know, we got to start living our lives and, you know, stop living in fear or, you know, feeling like as a community we're feeling oppressed to stay home. Yes, we want people healthy. No, we don't want anybody to get sick. So we're not saying that, but we need to feel like we can live our lives. And come what may, you know, we just deal with it one stride at a time. So in this whole pandemic that came about, right, let's look at scarcity and abundance, right? So scarcity in that sense came about when people were all of a sudden like, oh my God, we can't get toilet paper or paper towels. But then that became the success for them, right? The win of the day was if they could get out there and they could get the toilet paper before somebody else.
Yeah.
So, you know, really like looking at the measure of that, right? But if we were looking from a position of abundance where it's like, hey, I got what I need, and I think we've all seen it. You go to the store and people are like piling it on, like 2 carts full. Like, what are you gonna do with all that toilet paper and paper towels, man? But looking at it from a position of abundance, it's like, I have what I need, but somebody else is gonna need this too. So now we're reaching the zone of philanthropy and like caring for others and going, you know what, I have what I need. I'm good. My family's cared for. Other people are cared for too. And we're just going to roll with this and make sure that everybody is supported. So I wonder if everybody had gone that route, if there wouldn't have been such a big publicity thing about shortage of paper products, shortage of all these things. And I think it was just all that propaganda that might have created that. So that's just my opinion. Not trying to get all political here, but.
Well, when the whole paper towel thing was going on and I saw that, it was interesting to notice the people's reactions, like the different people's reactions. Like some people were pissed that other people were doing that. Some people just didn't understand it, you know, and I remember my initial response, I was kind of like, I was laughing because I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, why are they so concerned about toilet paper in a national pandemic?
Yeah.
We have the ocean, we have showers, there's no shortage of water. You know what I mean? Wash your
solutions.
Right, there's solutions. That's abundant, right? That's abundant mind thinking. There's solutions. You don't have to hoard toilet paper or hoard anything, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think they're scared to wash their own ass.
That's where we can start busting out the bidets, man. I'm telling you.
That's hurt.
But fear is a so bidets in the okay. We're gonna go a little bit on the side. So let me just clarify, right? Because there's bidets in Japan where like you sit on the thing and then there's a little stick that comes out, and I don't know how it senses where your asshole is, but it shoots like the stream like perfectly, like right there, right? And it's just like, whoa! At first it's like, whoa, what is this? But then it's kind of like, oh, let me find the right spot. It's like scratching an itch. but then in the Philippines, their bidet is there's a freaking power washer hose on the side of the toilet, and you freaking like fire hose your ass. You know what I mean? It's different. So when Joy says, "Oh, it's sore," well,
Yeah.
that's her
So
experience
precision
with the
versus
bidet,
fire
right?
hose.
Right. It's precision.
The force.
Right, and then in the Japan ones, you can adjust the pressure of the water, the type of the spray, the temperature is warm. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. And then afterwards, there's an air thing that comes out and dries your ass.
Wow.
Right?
Amazing.
Abundant mindset.
Freshen up.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Oh man.
It is.
This is
But
great.
for those who don't have bidet here in the Philippines, they use a dip.
Right.
We call
Bucket.
it tabo. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then wash your own ass with your
So
hands.
no fear of yeah.
So sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to spin that one down a windy road. That was funny.
Yeah, so yeah, man, just getting back on track. I'm gonna try to come back on track, right? So success and fear and all that. Success and fear, I think, are super, super like connected. Like
Most
if
definitely.
you have fear, you're not gonna have success.
Yeah.
If you have
Right.
too much fear, you're not gonna
Yeah.
have success.
Yeah.
It can be paralyzing.
Yeah, you have to be able to, because with fear, you can't move,
Uh-huh.
right? It freezes the mind. It's fight or flight, and it's just like freeze. A lot of people freeze. So
Hesitate. Exactly.
yeah, hesitate. And once you hesitate, you're a step behind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a game of inches, right? Like you're a second ahead, a second behind. It's like freaking missed the opportunity. Window of
It's
opportunity
like when
opens,
canoe
closes.
race. Oh man, it's like that canoe race. Like literally every second, millisecond counts.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, that's so funny about that.
yeah.
Well, it's funny, right?
Yeah.
There's so many parallels.
It makes a difference.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I think that was my connection breaking up. Sorry about that. So, yeah, it's funny because there's so many parallels with like how we could go with this, right? Like paddling and even in boxing, right? A split second of hesitation could cost you the whole fight. That could be the difference between a knockout, a stoppage, or you just lost the round.
Yeah. You have to flow. You can't
Yeah.
think. You have to react. It's not something where you have to think so much. It's just more reaction
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
than anything else. And it's the same thing in life. And if you're scared to even get in the ring, or lace up the gloves, or step out the front door because you're gonna get sick, it ain't gonna happen, man. That's why this whole thing, like, I'm like, you know what? Open the freaking country. Let's go. Let's start living. Let's do it. Like if you're sick or if you're old or if you have pre-existing conditions, stay home.
Yeah.
But let's get on with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
My opinion.
Honestly, because especially like if you aren't people like us and you aren't training, whether it's the mind, physically, like when it comes to, I call it battle, but when it comes to like you getting out there and being successful, you're gonna miss it. Not because like just because you didn't train for it. It's the same thing like fighting. You don't train if you're already uncomfortable and like hesitant that lacing up or wrapping up. You might as well not even fight. Like, it's important to
But
Keep
totally.
that training.
And so you have to practice it, right? So practice creates confidence and start getting through it, like really working through that fear, because like Evan was saying, and like you're saying, fear is always present. So it's like really like taking a chisel and whittling away at like the block of fear and just going, okay, eventually I'm getting past this wall, I'm getting past this block, and I'm just stepping into the unknown and just going, you know what, I'm here, let's go. So which the battle really boils down to the mindset, right? So shifting a little bit, right, and take it off the whole focus of the pandemic. So let's talk about major decisions in life, or moments where we felt like we've had that, you know, scarcity mindset, or we had to fight through it, right? So making transitions in career, making the decision to jump and, you know, put yourself out there, right? You know, that's a battle in itself for a lot of people. And I think you and I talked about this before. For some people, it's a battle just to get out of bed some days. So, you know, that battle, that training of constantly just going, you know what, I'm just going to do it, you know, and whatever the fear is, if I let this fear grip me, I'll never make it happen. And, you know, we'll never have forward progress. So that's the practice of, you know, working it through. And, you know, I'm finding, you know, that challenge presently, right, that I'm having to work through. So there's like a transition in career and everything that's happening. And it's just like, okay, you know, there's this decision where I'm like, yep, I'm ready to go for it. But then there's still that wall of discomfort, because it's like, oh, but this is what I've known for the last X number of years. And it's helped me build some sense of comfort and security. What's beyond that wall? So that's kind of where it's like, okay, you got to start busting through that wall. You're never going to know what's on the other side of it unless you start busting through that wall and going, right? So
Yeah.
What are some examples that you guys have of that?
So I recently was listening to this biography on Cus D'Amato, Mike Tyson's former boxing coach. And he was very much into the development of the mind and as a way to help fighters become champions. And I think he developed 3 or maybe 4 fighters to become world champions, which is like unprecedented. And so he was saying that he asked the question, what's the difference between a coward and somebody that has a lot of courage, the hero? And the answer is nothing. The only difference is when they're scared, what action they take. So if you got 2 guys in a foxhole and they're both scared shitless, right? The coward is going to stay in the foxhole. The hero is going to go out. Right, so that was his point. So when it comes to career moves and jumps and stuff like that, every time I had a career, so I had a pretty good job at a hotel. There was a lot of cash nightly. And when I left that job to join the military, they thought I was crazy. This was in like right at the beginning of the first Gulf War. They thought I was freaking crazy to do that. But to me, it was the right time and I needed to do something. I knew I needed discipline. And then when I came back and I was working with the city and county as a medic, it took a while to get into that. And then when I left that, everybody was like, what? Like, you have years in the city. Like, you're going to throw all that away? So then that was another time, you know? And then every time people are going to say you're freaking crazy because you reach a certain level and then there's some kind of discontentment. There's not enough, whatever it may be, whether it's not enough money, you don't feel good about the job, whatever the discontentment is, where you're searching for more. You know, I was searching for more all the time until I found Herbalife. And now it's like everything that I ever wanted as far as freedom, liberty, perfect health, all these things, being around good people, it's all here. So I'm not discontent for the first time in my life, and I'm 53, you know, like, so it's taken me a long time, and I climbed so many different freaking career ladders, you guys. But the thing was, it's like I was never, and maybe because I don't know, maybe my upbringing, I'm not sure, but I was never really fearful to leave a job or to leave a career. If I was, because I'm the type where when I'm over it, Kawi and I were talking about it. When I'm over it, I'm over it. I
Yeah.
leave. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like me, I am as loyal as it gets.
No
like,
looking back.
No, yeah, for sure. No looking back. Like when I work for you and like I be there. Like I would put in some work. But when I'm done and I'm like, no can, I'll leave it 2 shakes and a monkey's butt and hit it. Like no regrets. No regrets, because I know that I had put my very best into it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's really how it's taken me a while to get to that point where hell yeah, if I'm gonna do something, I get it. Like I'm gonna go all out, because what I put out, it will come back tenfold, whether in experience, whether it is like actual like material, something materialistic, like whatever it is. And with Herbalife, shoot, it's been a whole, it's changed the game, baby. Like hard.
I gotta say, yeah, like that was the big transition, right? Like, so, and like how Evan and Kali, like you're hinting at it too, right? Like the whole Herbalife thing, like that's really where the freedom and the joy of what you're doing, you know, has really hit me too. And it's just, you know, I find that even in my position and all the jobs that I've had, you know, there's been tons of patience, tons of tolerance, tons of acceptance, which are all good qualities for a leader, right? Because there's some understanding that has to go in play. But it's like, yeah, once you hit that boiling point, I mean, it's like, one, it's already known. There were several things that led up to that point where he just went, I'm done. And you threw it up and you're like, it's time to do something new. But at the same token, it's just like, you know, now making that transition and finding that home where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm experiencing freedom. I'm experiencing joy. I'm finding that fire for passion again to really contribute and do something big. You know, that's everything that we're finding with like our group, with the big Herbalife team. And, you know, it's incredible. And I got to say, in the last couple months, you know, just all the different calls that we've been on, seeing bigger picture, you know, seeing like other organizations that are essentially doing what we've done, but have just refined and fine-tuned their process to make it them. It's like, yeah, that's everything that we've been looking for. And it's like, now the team is gelling and we're like, yep, let's blow it up.
Yeah. And all the past experiences and jobs and whatever we might have, that's all wisdom that we just carry forward. It's not like when I leave that job, it's not like it's like poof, gone, I forget everything I learned at that job. It's just wisdom.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like how I always tell a lot of the fighters, like when I'm working with them, it's just, or like even like our other team members, it's like, hey, you know, it doesn't matter what happens in your life. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways, and this is really what it boils down to. It's either a win, you're doing good, and whatever you're doing it's working for you, keep going, build up on that, or you learn. There is no lose. Lose only happens when you choose to do nothing and you stay stagnant.
You don't lace up. You don't get out of the house. You let fear control your whole life. Too fearful. Be careful. Watch out. Don't fall down. Oh, like don't. Yeah.
It is for the kids. Because so loud, you'll fuck up your face. Be careful. Like right now, I don't say that to Kyra anymore. I just let her do her thing. Because before I used to tell her, like, you know, be careful. Like I mean with my kids before too, like when they're young, be careful. Oh, you maybe fall like that. But now it's like, Kyra, I just let her do your own thing. Like if you fall, then you fall. Then learn how to stand up by yourself, because you're only gonna help yourself, not everyone.
And what's cool about that is like you can find like a lot of a lot of learning lesson and like, you know, seeing a kid grow, seeing a kid make mistakes, right? Because it's like, yeah, like as a parent, we're like, oh my God, I don't want this to happen. But as soon as like something happens and then they get up, it's just like, oh my God, good job, good job. And it's like a big celebration, right? Which is no different than what we have to do for each other, and what we should do for each other. It's like, if I see Joy succeeding, or if I see Evan succeeding, it's like, yes, gas it up, gas it up, gas it up. And because it becomes an inspiration for others to go, you know what, man, look at how strong they are. Look at what they did. Look at how they're being celebrated. Now, and it shows what could be possible for somebody else.
You know, the going back to the kids thing and learning from kids, it's fascinating because kids, they don't know what giving up is. They haven't learned what that is. They don't know that, like, oh, if I fall down, they don't know that they have a choice to walk or not walk. There is no choice, right? They are programmed. We, as a human race, are programmed to win. It's like only when we get older where we start being more careful, or like we got to be good at everything before we try. Like kids don't give a fuck if they're good at something before they try. They just try. And then later on, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Why? Because I'm not good at it. Where did they learn that from? Right? I mean,
from the parents.
interesting, right? And then
like
with adults too, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm not comfortable, or I'm still like, you know, like I need to find myself first. I need to learn. I need to be more confident. I need to do this. Go spend some time with some kids.
And at the center of that is just fear. It's just fear.
Pure fear.
Yeah.
It's funny, right, that you say that. Like there's tons to be learned from a kid. I just had some conversations with my daughter recently that have been like super powerful. They really only look at what's next. Like, what's the next angle? How do I attack this nut next? Like, how can I bust this thing open? Like, so whenever they want something, like, oh, I want candy, or I want a new toy, it's what is the angle to make that happen?
Right.
And if they don't get it,
solution.
Right. And if they don't get it, and it like comes down to no, they're like, well, I didn't want it anyways. What's next?
The solution, or
you
know what I find really interesting too is they're really good at visualizing. They're really good at visualizing and projecting what they want. You know, and it's weird. Like they get it most of the time. So it's almost like as adults, we sometimes like have this filter where we think the dream is too big. But for kids, it's like the dream is not big. They just see it.
Yeah.
And they don't know that there's no such thing as Santa Claus. I mean,
and the best
maybe there is.
Yeah. and the best part, there's no filter with them, right? So it's like you get dished exactly what they're feeling. So it's like, the most recent one that I had with my daughter, she's like, it basically came down to a no jump situation, right? And she's like, Dad, if it is what it is, just jump, just do it. I mean, what's the problem? I'm like, well, look at you.
Either gonna go skydiving and jump out of the plane, or you're not.
What?
Right?
No!
Once that freaking door opens of that plane, you're gonna be choked with fear, but it's like, you do it a bunch of times and you have the skill base, it's no longer, I mean, there's risk, but the reward of adrenaline and having fun and everything else, and like the
it's not as fearful.
And the weightlessness and like the sense of freedom and the rush of air or whatever, it's like, that's well worth the risk of jumping out of a plane. For a lot of people, right? But most people will be like, I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
I do it.
Why not?
It's on my bucket list. I'm gonna do it.
We should all do it. We should do that one day and make that the call.
That would be dope. That would be dope. You know, the ones that I've seen recently are like the bungee jumping ones where like they're just kind of like looking over like this, or they're turning like this, and someone's all of a sudden like, okay, count to 3, 1, boom, and then you're gone. So then fear is just totally just like it's stripped out of you, right? So, and I've found that there are times where it's like that, where it's like you make the choice to overcome your fear, or something that's uncontrolled or unbeknownst to us rips that fear out of us.
Right.
Or
you're around people that are not fearful, or they're fearful, but they're still charging. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like to go first out of the plane is better, because when the door opens, right? And I see Kawi like going out underneath and hanging onto the strut of the plane, and then she lets go. It's like, phew, she's gone. It's like, holy shit. And then Austin is like going over there and he's going under the plane, you know, and it's just like, phew, he's kind of like, oh, I'm alone. Fuck, I have to go. I have to go.
Right?
Yeah. Right? So it's kind of like who your tribe is, man. If your tribe is going and you're not going, then it's something to look at, right? Because it's not that there's pure, I mean, I guess it's like, you know, you don't want to do things that are going to be harmful. Like, you know, you're not going to go and smoke crack together because we're just, you know, maybe that's a bad example, but like doing things that are constructive, that are promoting growth and the team and like everybody's success is healthy. It's for a life well lived. It's for memories. It's for experience and wisdom. And who do you hang around? That's a whole nother topic, right? Who do you hang
that's
around?
a huge topic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Super cool.
I want to add some, you know, jumping on the plane. I got that before jumping on the pool, 6 feet. I remember that Evan asked me to jump on that, and I was so scared. And I said, fuck it, let's do it. You know, I was scared because maybe I'm gonna drown or not. So it's like, and I don't know how to swim. So, and then he said, I'll catch you. And then I just do it.
It wasn't 6 feet. It was, so we went, let me just preface this, right? So we were doing a lot of Herbalife training, and Joy was fearful of a lot of things, but on land, she's a land dweller, right? So it's like, oh, no problem. She'll charge whatever. But in the Philippines, she's our leader. Like, she has to be able to lead. So we went to this place called the Manila Polo Club, and they have a high dive, like a deep diving well, you know?
Okay.
And it's like 20 feet deep.
Oh.
And so she's like, but I don't know how to, it's blue. It's like blue under the high dive, you know, under the 3 meter or the whatever the board, it's high, you know?
Yeah.
They have a platform over there.
Okay.
So we go over there, and she's like, well, I don't know how to swim. And I'm like, well, we're going to go to the deep end, because that's life. Like, there's no shallow end. You know, you either jump in, it's the same thing, except it's deep. It's just deep in your head, but it's the same thing. You know, you don't know how to swim, you know how to swim. So we go to the deep end, and she's like, no. And I'm like, hey, this is your last chance or I'm done with you. Like, there was like an ultimatum. So like, I don't have time to be begging you to do this thing. So she's like, okay. So she jumps. And I was like, okay, that's right then I knew, okay, this is somebody that's willing to get over her own fear to do this thing.
Yep.
That was a long time ago.
Wow.
I remember,
long time ago.
I remember one that was, oh, sorry, go ahead, Joy. Go ahead.
I think that's 10 years ago.
Ooh.
Oh, that was that long? Man, life goes by quick.
Time flies. I remember one recently. So we went to Big Island and we were doing the Big Ironman tournament. So we ended up.
That was fucking high, bro. That was high.
So I gotta preface this, right? So it's like we go on this hike, you know, we're hanging out, we're talking vision and everything, and we just kind of end up down this side road, and we're like, oh wow, what's that over there? Oh, let's go check it out. So we end up on this hike, on this road, we hike down to like the edge of the island.
Hey, this is through the lava fields.
And this
is through the lava fields.
Yeah.
Right? There's goats running around, there's chickens, it's just wild.
And as we're walking and talking, we see this group of kids jumping off the edge of the island. And we're like, oh.
Wow.
We're like,
and then
whoa,
he's
that's
like,
high.
He's like, hey, we go. And I'm over there like, Yeah. We go. So we go over there, and he's like, "Are you gonna jump?" And I go, "Yeah, I promise." And he jumps, and like my heart is just like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, "Oh my God, that is so high!" And I'm looking at it from a side angle like this, so like I see it where he's standing up here, and that thing looked like
it's like this, like it's high.
Yeah.
So let me add in something here. So
Go ahead.
because I said we go, because it from where we were in the very beginning before we started hiking, it looked high, but it was like that's like I like high jumping off of high stuff into the ocean, and it's like, oh well, if the kids are doing it, that's pretty doable, right?
Right.
These were like maybe 20-year-olds like that jumping off.
If even.
Like maybe late high school age or like 20-year-olds. So kids go for it. Yeah, they're jumping, and it's like local kids. Yeah.
Right.
So we walk down there, and first it's like, hey, where do you even like jump off this thing? It's a cliff, and later on we found out, what is it? Edge of the world or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Edge of the world or something like that. So it's one of the higher jumps on the Big Island. So we go over there, and because I told Austin, you know what, we go. Frick, I'll be honest with you. I didn't tell Austin this, but I was looking off the side of that thing, and I was like, I don't know about this, bro. But because he said no, I was like, fuck it. So it's like one of those things. It was so high where it's like you jump, and like you cannot like lean back. You cannot. You got to stay like. Otherwise, frick, you're gonna get whacked, right? So like on the way down, it's just like. And
your stomach is up in your throat.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I never knew that, because I was over there like, yeah, we go, because it's like, he's like, yeah, we go. And I'm like, oh, it's nothing then. Okay, I guess. But I'm over there like, I don't want to do this. So I record him jumping, and I'll have to post it up so you guys can see it, because that was funny. We get over there, and then I'm standing and I'm looking over. I do this a couple times.
Austin is doing the full narrative, right? And I'm like, go, you fucker.
I'm like, okay, bye. And you know, so we find that like in those moments of like of pressure, right? You have a decision to make. You either do it or you don't. And I just went, right, you know what? I'm not gonna let some kids that are watching me behind me look at me like, oh, how's this old guy not jumping? And then see Evan over here, he's like, bro, I did it. Where you at? And I'm like, you know what? I'm in. And it's so liberating. So it's those moments where it stripped fear out of me, and it's just like, go, jump. And I went. And let me tell you, the landing wasn't beautiful. Okay. It was.
Yeah. I was videoing. I was like, ooh.
Like my hands went like this, but because of the drop, it opened, feathered, and it just went, bah! And it slapped. And it's just like, if you guys that are watching have never really done like a high jump before, right? There's a very thin membrane of resistance on anything that you're jumping into. And if you point into it, you're gonna break the resistance, no problem. But if you're flat on anything, it's gonna meet it like full on. And that's exactly what happened.
Water is super hard. If you fall on water hard, it's hard. It's not like a soft pillow, man. It's like you skip off that thing. You know what I mean?
So, but in that moment, right? Like I think I jumped like a second or third time, right? I think we both did.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it went, oh, that really wasn't that bad. I mean, that whole feeling of my stomach being in my gut, yeah, I was scared, but that wasn't that bad. And I find it's the same dive that we take as business owners, as people that are striving for more in life, stepping into something that we've never done before. There's that moment, and there's that strain, like that choking feeling that you, I can't do this. But then you do it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, let me try this again.
Like the best part of it was like, so the whole build up to it, but then once you get in the water was like crystal clear. Like you could see like a couple 100 feet underwater, and it was just deep blue, like it just drops off. But that's the Big Island, right? It's so unreal. And then like climbing up the cliff and then doing it again wasn't as bad. But then it's like, now we have the story to tell, you know?
And
Life.
yeah. And imagine the feeling of it, right? So like how you're saying that crystal clear water, if you can picture this, it's cool and crisp on a hot fall day. Like it was really hot. And
Freaking
all of a sudden you hit the
steaming.
water, it's crisp, it's cool, you feel good. Yeah. And then you're feeling liberated, you're feeling good. So now all the endorphins and everything is releasing. Like, oh my God, that was so hitting those stepping stones and like stones it takes to get there. Once we hit something like, oh my God, that felt so good. I can do it again. What if I do it again and again and again? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you look behind you and you're like, in a state of reflection, you're like, oh, look what I did. And that was the feeling that I had when we were walking away. So the story and the buildup ends up becoming the drama that really ended up making the story special.
It was an adventure, man. And when we get promoted, I've always said this to the team, like when we get promoted, we should take a vacation and go there. Like go get an Airbnb on the Big Island and enjoy each other and like go swimming. And the water is just crystal, man, over there. And yeah, it'd be a great vacation. Go up to, or maybe if my house is built, we could stay there. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Anyway, yeah, that was fun, man. How did we get on that? Fear.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
good.
And I think that's the most of what that chapter represented was really just embracing your fears and going after success and not looking to the left or the right, but just looking forward at what you got to do and teeing off on that whole team concept, right? Even that story that we just had about that jump, it was a team thing because if Evan hadn't told me to go, just do it, I wouldn't have done it. So it took a team and it took a little bit of positive peer pressure to go, hey, take the jump into something that you don't know because you don't know what's going to come out of it. And if you get hurt, well, you learn how to land properly. But if you hit the water clear and it feels good, then you're like, man, that was refreshing.
Yeah. And I just want to add it to what you said. Like, if there's no one motivating you, like pushing you, you're not going to do it. Because for me, for my perspective, Evan also told me like to do it. He's always pushing me to do it. And then it's like if he didn't do that, maybe I'm not here. You know. So and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? Like as we grow and stuff like that, like people gotta find their reasons to do it. Maybe in the beginning they might be fearful or whatever, you know, but they gotta find their reasons why they want to succeed for themselves.
Yes.
Yep. Having to constantly push. That's why being around good people like this that are all striving helps the others strive. So we've been doing these yoga classes, right? And I mean, these are not easy classes. Every day, Kawi, Joy, Austin comes on when he can, and it's with a few other people. But if it wasn't for the group coming on that thing every day, I would not be going on that thing.
Yeah.
So it's because of the regulars that show up, just like a regular team.
Oh man,
Totally.
Bikram is so good.
Bruh, and those things are not easy. Like you said.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Like,
Hey,
the first time we did it, man. Like the first day, I was like, I think we did it on a Friday.
yeah.
We're like, sure, we'll do it one day and then we'll try it. Man, and we did the first day like a few times, and it was still crazy.
My core has not felt this tight, like this solid.
Ever
and
in my life.
flexibility has never been. It's been a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember the first day we started, I was just like, I didn't know your leg could bend like that. I'm over there like trying to do it, I'm like, I can't do it. But it's cool because like, as I've been able to plug in where I can, I've noticed that there's been small wins, right? I'm like, hey, I can stretch my leg a little bit more. And like how you're saying, my core felt a little tighter. My shoulders felt a little more defined. I was like, that's really cool. So it was nice. And I'm not a yoga person either. And I never thought I would ever do it in my life.
Yeah. And yoga helps me. It's like honestly, like we're popping like every day we do workouts, and Sunday is only the rest day. I never get injured, and I feel good, and I never get sick too. And that's also awesome because we do have Herbalife too that helps our nutrition, and we do activities a lot, and perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
so whoever's listening to this, man, you guys want to get on, you guys want to have like a super like defined tight core, join us. It's free.
Yes.
Everybody's welcome. And
Yeah.
it's not like a pressure thing. Like, no need to be scared. I think I posted like, don't be scared, just do it. Like, just come.
Yeah.
Because nobody gives a shit how much you can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's
not at all.
at your pace. Yeah.
It's
Go
all
ahead,
what
your
you can
pace.
do, and not
No
looking
judgment.
around, not comparing,
Yeah.
and just
No
just going
judgment.
for it. There's something to be
Yeah.
said about that, where it's like, it is freeing and it is liberating to be doing yoga, because it really does become like an inward look as you're doing it, and it's not outward at all. Like, you really start feeling and getting to know like your body, your emotion, because you're present in the moment, and you really connect on a very spiritual level, which is very, very powerful. Because
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Because I was just gonna say, like, for a lot of people, I feel like there's like their own internal wall between their spirituality and what they really, really feel at their core versus what they allow the world to see. And I found that yoga really, it cuts through that gap and helps to bridge it.
Yeah. A lot of that is people's own ego or their own idea of who they think they are, and so with the yoga thing, it's like there's only you and the mirror, and if your breathing is off, or if your balance is off, or if you're distracted thinking about something else, you're just looking at yourself in the mirror. And so I find that in the later part of the class, so half of it is standing, half of it is on your back or laying. And I find when we get towards the end, or like towards the end of the second half, when we go into this posture called savasana, which is like a relaxation posture, I can start to feel the connection between the universe and myself. Like, my ego disappears. It's really, it's really interesting, because I start getting more clear. And then by the end of the class, it's like, man, I feel so much better, because I got rid of myself.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I think a lot of people that like don't do yoga and I'm not like this yogi either, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just speaking from my own experience. Like, I'm not saying everybody got to do yoga or whatever. And if you don't do a yoga, then you suck. I'm not saying that at all. It's not like that at all. It's really not like that. It's just the benefits. And if people are not willing to even try it, then they've got their own belief system going on, like we all do. But at least give it a try, like for a month. See what happens.
Totally.
Yes.
I like that, because that's something that I picked up in my studies when I was listening to a lot of Jim Rohn. It's like, you just got to try it. I was like, you never know what's going to happen. You just got to try. So stepping into that unknown and just going for it. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
So I think that covers all of chapter 5, guys. I don't know if anybody's gotten ahead in the book, but just a prelude to that, I think we start getting into the 4 responses next week, which is really, really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. Again, this is us covering the 10X rule, chapter 5, no shortage of success. You're hearing life, you're hearing value, you're hearing experience, and it's wisdom that we wish to impart on you from our own personal experiences, and hopes that you find a way to make it applicable to your life. So wish you guys an amazing Sunday. We're going to go ahead and sign off, and we will catch you later. Have a great day.
Aloha, everyone.